Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Victor, and welcome to my YouTube channel, which is all about helping people navigate their ascension process. And today's video is my Friday question and answer video, where I answer all of my subscribers' questions that I get throughout the week. I always leave the questions in the description box below. You can go ahead and check them out. Somebody asked me, so I understand that we all have a lot of baggage that's being reflected into our world, provoking challenge in our life, but isn't there actually a lot of external forces sort of imposing upon us negative energy as well that's sort of affecting us and creating some of these symptoms? That is definitely a possibility that you are free to believe in, but I would ask you this: how does that definition work for you? That definition, in my opinion, creates a disempowered state, a state that you are subject to whatever these external influences may decide to do to you. When I was first awakening and I was like learning about all like the dark cabal and the banks and all like the evil shit that's out there, I was really rustled up about chemtrails. Every day I'd see them. Oh wow, there's a lot of chemtrails today. You know, I'd tell my wife, dude, look at all the chemtrails today. Can you believe this? How do people not know about this? This is crazy. Look at them all. And I'd read about what they do. Oh, they're trying to poison us. They're trying to wipe out 2/3 of humanity so they can have the little prison state. And it affected me. The more you focus on it, the more you notice them. The more you notice them, the more you are affected by them. The more you're affected by them, the more you're seeking answers online, learning about them. It's just this self-perpetuating vicious cycle of fear. That's why I believe they do that. You know, some people are going to get all freaked out about it. So in a sense, I did allow myself, because I believed that the chemtrails had this particular potential effect on me. I experienced that effect. And you know what I noticed just yesterday, in fact, is why I bring it up. I noticed that I never, ever noticed the chemtrails. It's not that I'm burying my head in the sand and aren't aware of it. It's just that whatever you focus on snowballs. So you want to focus on the negative energy coming at you, then it's going to snowball, and you will experience a lot of it. I choose to focus on none of it. I've been down that road. I saw that it leads nowhere. I saw that it leads to a disempowered state of consciousness that will never battle against what you perceive to be the negative forces. The negative forces want you to be in this snowballed, fearful energy. The real way to fight them is to not give them any attention, because that will lift your vibration up super, super high, where you are impervious to any of their little pathetic little attempts to lower you down. You will not be lowered down by them. So somebody asked me about, they're taking Seroquel. They're coming off an addiction and they can't sleep. I can relate to that. And they're taking this pill called Seroquel in small doses to help them sleep. But they're noticing that they're like psychic abilities, like their visualization skills and those sort of skills are just not functioning very good for them. And that's a side effect of a lot of these like pharmaceuticals that people take, unfortunately. I'm not going to tell you to stop taking your medication. That's something that you got to decide on your own. But there are consequences to them. When I was coming off of my drug addiction, I took this mild antidepressant called, Lexapro. And it helped a little bit with like the crazy ups and downs at the time, but it did. It made me less in tune feeling. Even at the time when I didn't really know what it was to be in tune, I knew there was something missing. Like there was like heightened aspects to my personality that I felt I could not really access and bring through into my like communication with other people. I felt like I was more like, yeah, just things didn't affect me that much, but it's a consequence of it, man. But stop taking it. You can either stop taking it, wean off it, or accept what your situation is and say, okay, maybe I don't really need my visualization skills at this time in my life. Again, sometimes the side effects aren't really a problem for you. You only make it a problem by like worrying about it. When the time is right, you'll come off it. And if you really feel like you should be coming off whatever you're taking, and this goes out to anybody else, if you're taking something that you know is sort of a crutch, something that you should be letting go, then let go of it. It's not going to be easy. There'll never be an easy time to stop these little habits. You just have to freaking do it. And even if you fail, just keep at it. Keep doing it. Start taking action on it, though. Don't just wait for the magical motivation just to come over you. That's what a lot of people are waiting for, and they're going to be waiting a long time. It doesn't work that way. You got to take charge of your life. there's something in it that you don't like it, you don't like the effect of it, then stop it. I would say this, who cares if you don't sleep? A lot of the people who are going through the awakening process, not coming off drugs, they don't sleep very well either. I don't sleep very well. I mean, I go through random fluctuations. Sometimes I sleep awesome. Sometimes I sleep hardly at all. But I've learned to not even care. I'm not going to allow how much I slept determine how my day goes anymore. And you don't have to either. How do I break out of the 9 to 5? Oh, the golden question. I broke out of the 9 to 5 a long time ago because I hated it. I could not stand being confined to a normal job with a boss that told me what to do, and it's just not for me. I can never have a regular job. How do you do it? Well, there's a jump. There's a risk you have to take. And there's a lot of work in the beginning. Because oftentimes you can't just jump out of your 9 to 5 and plummet into like debt and on this like whim that you might make some sort of success in another direction. You have to be kind of smart about it. Sometimes that's what people do when it works. Sometimes people do that, they take that massive jump and it doesn't work and they really end up screwed, having to go back to that 9 to 5, now with a bunch of debt. I recommend this. A wise man once told me, he asked me when I was complaining. I had a new gym I started and there was something else I wanted to do and I was just kind of complaining that I just never had the time to do it. And he said, Vic, where's your 10 to 2? I said, what? What's a 10 to 2? What do you do from the hours of 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.? You sit and you watch TV, you go on Facebook, you browse the web, learning about bullshit. Yeah, I did. Well, there's 4 hours a day, man. That's half a normal work shift. Find your 10 to 2. Start what you really want to do. Breaking out of the 9 to 5 implies you want to do something else, but you might not believe it can support you. Start doing that thing. You'll be surprised with a little creativity and open-mindedness how you can make something that you see that you know, it's very common for people to have definitions of their passion as something that, well, realistically, this can't support me. It would be too like a shot in the dark for this to ever support me. That's not true. Start at it a little bit. Start doing something associated with what you want to do other than your 9 to 5 every day. Start making a little bit of cash with that, whatever it is. Discover ways to monetize it. Maybe you start a blog. There's a million different ways to make money off your blog. And your blog can be anything. You can write about your passion, whatever it is, and you just develop traffic to it and write a book or something. I don't know. You can just be creative, man. Don't limit yourself. But start at it now. Start busting ass at your 10 to 2. That's how you do it. There's no magical key how to break out of the 9 to 5. It's a pain in the ass. It will evoke a ton of fear. I was scared shitless. I would keep myself up at night like, what have you done? You're so stupid. What if this doesn't work out? And there's a lot of times it doesn't seem like it's going to work out. You just have to follow your dreams, man, and start them now. Be smart about it, and don't ever give up. Real quick, someone said they don't have an appetite. Big deal. So what? Don't eat. You'll get your appetite back. You're not going to wither away and die. Sometimes you have an appetite. Sometimes you don't. You're going through an ascension process, and you'll have a lot of fluctuating physical symptoms. It's as simple as that. I know what you mean, though. I found that in the beginning of my awakening, during especially the moon energies, I would feel like when I would eat something, it would just sit there in my stomach and not digest. It would just kind of be sitting there. So I didn't really want to eat because I was full from the last meal 6 hours ago that was small and yet was still like right there present in my belly. Like my digestive system took a little leave of absence. So I just didn't eat. But guess what? 3 days later, I was freaking ravenous and I ate a lot. So you make up for it. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Someone said, and I'm going to read this real quick. It says, every time I meditate, there's always pressure in my head and light all the time. I close my eyes. I just want to open my third eye. Well, that's why you're having all that pressure, because you're focusing on your third eye. You can meditate a lot of different ways. And that's actually, your symptom describes signs of your third eye opening. It involves pressure. It's kind of like when you focus on any chakra, but especially, take for example your third eye, your sixth chakra, you're focusing on it. What does focusing on it do? It raises your kundalini energy and brings it up in this area. And this energy is what pries open that door. The door doesn't always want to just open smoothly. You got to kind of knock at it and blast it and you have to develop a sufficient amount of this kundalini energy to blast open your sixth chakra. But here's the thing. It's not always important to open your third eye. Everyone's so focused on that. That's just one chakra. Oftentimes, obsessing about one particular chakra is going to make you feel kind of unbalanced. If you open your third eye, I did this in the beginning, before I had my Kundalini awakening. I really opened my third eye, big time. And I felt very psychic. I could see auras with people. I could read people. I was very like cerebral and smart and like real, like all these like these 6 chakra types of abilities I had. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, man. But what did that really do for me? I became a little bit of an unbalanced personality, to be honest. I kind of like wasn't in my heart enough. I was very heady, very cerebral, very like psychic and calculated. And I prefer being balanced. I prefer just having a balance of my energy now. I could tap into my third eye abilities whenever I want to, but I would say, why are you so focused on having to open your third eye? Why don't you just focus on blossoming into a loving, awesome human being that has a life that they really enjoy? As I wrote this down, I don't remember if this were their words. This is probably my words as I read it. It said, I met my soulmate and we developed a relationship, but then shit hit the fan and we broke up. Why? What's the deal? I thought this person was my soulmate. A lot of times we have a lot of soulmates. And a lot of times when we meet a soulmate, it's to catalyze more of our awakening. So many times, as I mentioned in a previous question, you will meet another alpha spirit type person or a soulmate, and you will trigger growth in one another. And once that has been accomplished, you just go your own way. And you might experience that as a breakup, but you just didn't need this soulmate. They're going on their own journey. You're going on your own journey, and you're fine. You don't need to worry about them. You don't need to collect all your soulmates, keep them with you. A lot of times it doesn't work that way. I've had a lot of soulmate relationships in my life, and some have lasted longer than others. Some have ended with harmony and love. Others, we just kind of separated naturally. It could go a million different ways. Some of us have I've had people where I've kind of gotten out of their life and there's just kind of weirdness because we never had a real falling out, and it just could happen a lot of different ways, man. But the whole message I have for you is don't worry. Be happy you met them. The timing was probably perfect and you got what you needed from that soulmate. Now just keep going forward and you're bound to manifest other soulmates. I get this question a lot. I did answer it one time, but just because that was then, I'll answer it for you as well. Why do I put 1111 in my videos at the beginning and at the end? I do it really just for like a neat little creative expression. It's not too much more than that, but I will say that it's a very common initial synchronicity that people see when they're starting to wake up. It's the first one I saw. Most people who are ascending see numeric synchronicities, very oftentimes 1111, which represents enlightenment, awakening. And I'm doing it for a few different reasons. One of them is to kind of call out to those kind of people. I don't want to deal with the skeptics and the jerk-offs who are going to come on a channel and say, well, how do you know about this? And I'm not interested in convincing anybody of anything. I kind of want to create a community of like-minded people. And so I'm using certain words, the synchronicity of 1111 to kind of call out to the people I want and part of the community that I believe will resonate with me and what I stand for. At the same time, if someone who's drawn to the channel who isn't quite, they're not getting the 1111 synchronicity, that doesn't mean anything. With all what I just said, it doesn't mean shit. Don't worry about that. But it's going to perhaps create a synchronicity for them. Maybe they watch a bunch of my videos and they see 1111 all the time. Because say someone watches 10 of my videos, they've seen 1111 20 times there. And they might start seeing it because it's coming into their consciousness, they'll start seeing it more in their own life. So that it's kind of like perpetuating synchronicity in my viewers in a positive way, not with like something weird, but with an 1111, which represents awakening. So that's why I personally do it. And lastly, someone mentioned that they had an experience where they were able to perceive through their third eye like an entity coming into their body and then kind of being with them for a while. And they could feel this entity kind of moving around their energy and just kind of like healing them. And they wonder, is that energy, is this my Kundalini? Is that an actual entity? And I would say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your mind wants to label it. If this experience produced a healing effect, then who cares? I've experienced both. I've experienced that. I've had it where, just like you said, I'd be meditating and I could actually see, not even with my eyes closed, but I could actually see movement of like a real refined, higher dimensional, what I perceived like an extraterrestrial being. It would draw closer and closer and closer and closer. Then it would kind of like, I'd feel it come into my body. And at first, it scared the crap out of me. The first time this happened, I was just like sitting there meditating, and I felt it coming. And I got up, and I started like moving around my house, and this thing was like following me. I swear to God, this like it wasn't like a solid ET, like I would see a human being following me. It was more refined, like I was piercing into another dimension, but it was very real. It was literally moving, kind of following me around. Finally, I just had, I don't know if it was even the inclination or the sensing. I just decided to say, I don't want to run from this thing. So I said, well, okay, let's see what you're going to do. So I went back up into my little room where I was meditating, and I laid down and I allowed it to do what it was going to do. And as I had hoped, as it came into my body, it felt awesome. I could feel it healing me. And just like you said, clearing my chakras, moving around my energy. I felt very healed and in tune with it. I felt like I could kind of communicate with it. Now, was that just a reflection of my Kundalini energy doing its thing, that an experience that I kind of created in my mind as a way to frame this energetic cleaning out of my being? I don't know, and I don't care. I just got this last question on Facebook that I felt compelled to answer because, frankly, it's something that annoys me a lot about the spiritual community. So here's the scenario. She met a psychic who told her that she has enough love for all of humanity, and that's going to cause her to be really sensitive and subject to, the negative energies of the world. And now this lady is experiencing like these sharp pains in her heart. And she asked me for some tips for shielding herself from this toxic energy. Now, where do I begin? You're awesome, girl. I'm not about to, but what I get annoyed about is how childish people in the spiritual community are. They love to glamorize, oh, we're just these blessed souls with these amazing powers, and this world is so harsh, and we're just so pure to have come here. That's such a nice little grandiose idea, but guess what? Every single soul is just as loving and immaculate as the next. No one is really special in that regard. We are all equally facets of the one true God, all that is. Some express it more clearly than others. But here's to address the question. You're experiencing, in my firm opinion, these shouting pains in your heart as a manifestation of the belief that you are so sensitive and subject to these negative energies. That's just something you can believe in. And you will, if you do buy into that truly, you will experience the repercussions of these negative energies coming at you and affecting you. And that's why you're feeling the heart thing. There's no need to shield from them. What you need to do is pluck out that belief that you need to shield yourself from them. That's a disempowered state of mind that you can do your best, but you really never know what's lurking around the corner. Well, guess what? You're going to start manifesting things lurking around the corner if you hold on to that. And it's tempting to not let go of because it's so like egoically gratifying that, wow, I'm just such a sensitive person that I have so much love that all these dark energies are going to come get me because I'm special. And you are special. You are full of love. I'm not saying you're not, but that's kind of a human egoic type of little fantasy. And I only say that because I used to hold the exact same things. I thought the exact same things about myself, and I had the exact same experiences to reflect that to myself. I thought I was this badass light worker on a mission to help heal humanity, to help bring awareness to people, spread the word, help everybody ascend. I'm just this benevolent, pure soul that normally wouldn't incarnate in such a dark place. It's beneath me. But out of the grace of my heart, I chose to come here into this dense realm and help these egoic people lift out of their confusion. What a nice, benevolent thing to do, huh? In a sense, we did have done that. But Don't let your mind get too wrapped around that, okay? Because that's just going to create, again, these uncomfortable and negative circumstances based on that little fantasy. I see so many like spiritual channels, and the way people talk about this is, in my opinion, so far from the reality of it. A lot of people get a glimpse of their own divine spark, and then they immediately run with it and become a psychic and start filling people with these ideas. You know, psychics are kind of, in a sense, meant to make you feel good. I'm not saying psychics don't exist, because they do. I've seen awesome psychics that frickin' were mind-blowingly accurate. But at the same time, I'm real careful to buy into anything that is not of my choosing, because you are subject to the ramifications of the beliefs. One time a psychic told me that there's going to be a fire in my house. And this is a guy I trusted. He was spot on with so many little details in my life. I accredit that, as well as other things, to, I've spoken in other videos, my incessant manifestation of negative fire synchronicities. I was experiencing things happening in my house that could very well cause a fire. For example, I'm a medical marijuana, or was a medical marijuana grower, and you use these very high power light bulbs, 1,000 watt bulbs. And I would go downstairs and I would open the door, and I would just, out of the blue, I just happened to catch this circumstance in the exact second, and I would watch as if, like, these bulbs are so heavy, they come with something called a ballast, which is a power source that kind of connects them to your power outlet that powers up this massive light, the same kind of light they power street lamps with. And I happened to come into my little grow room and see this freaking bulb on fire on the inside. Like, too much electricity was going into this bulb, and it was like turning black, and I had to run and turn it off. Otherwise, it was going to like explode and cause a fire. Another time I came down, and these bulbs are encased in these big like grow hoods that are glass, so you can kind of cool them. And I watched the glass just randomly shatter all over the place. Like these real scary little manifestations, because I was so afraid that there was a fire coming. I was going to create a fire based on my fear. If you really feel that you have to shield yourself from the negative energy of the world, you're going to be given reasons and symptoms that justify that notion in your mind. The shooting pains in your heart is because you believe that that can happen. Guess what? No fire ever happened for me. Let go of fearful definitions, all of you. If there's a definition causing something that you guys don't like, you can change that. Be careful of what you choose to believe in, because you're living in a time where that very belief will be reflected in your reality in very real ways. That's not to say go off on a fearful tangent trying to pluck out all your fears in this very moment. But be very aware. Read into the synchronicities and see, why is this happening? Why am I having this heart thing? You did the right thing. You asked a question to somebody you felt could answer you, and that's my answer. So I hope you guys all are very discerning about what you choose to buy into. There's a lot of bullshit out there in the spiritual community that is just going to keep you unspiritual. Guys in the fantasy that you're extra spiritual. We are all spiritual. We are all holistic God beings. Okay? You don't need anybody to tell you anything. You only need yourself. Step into your own power. The time is now. The time is now. Otherwise, you will continue, you, everybody, not just you, dear, manifest these like really scary scenarios in your life. Okay? If you've given your power away, God bless.